right, what do we got here on the menu today? Team practice 3. Just finished the corrective exercises right there. We had 2 sets of 10 reps each to get the body prep for the big movements we got in the weight room. Then for the main course here, we've got trap bar deadlift, 4-second tempo, 5 by 8 reps, and I'm decreasing the amount of time in between sets. So I'm probably gonna look for like a minute in between sets here, and that's how I'm progressive overloading over the last few weeks. Then we get into the B series, dumbbell alternating top-down bench. We've got kettlebell goblet lateral squat, and then I've got a bent over dumbbell alternate row from the bottom up. So I know that sounds a little bit confusing if you've never done this program before. Once you get in the rhythm, you kind of figure out how to do this stuff. So Coach Seth told me to go ham on the first and the A series, so that's where I'm gonna put most of my focus right now. Let's get it. We've got Bach, the Goldberg variations on right now, which I first read about in the Wall Street Journal. Like some finance tycoon was talking about his dad always listening to this stuff, and that's how I first heard about it, and it's electric. So other than listening to Bach and lifting weights, what have I been up to? Right now I just started out on this brand differentiation guide. Oh, Cybertruck. Dude, I love Cybertrucks. I love that they're binary. You either love them or you hate them. I love them because they look like nothing else that's ever been on the market. I love them because they're completely unique. And I love them because so many of the other cars that come out nowadays are just replicas and copycats of something else that's existed previously. And this is just a very bold, different car. I'm the only person in my family that thinks they're dope. Everybody else hates them, but that's okay. That's okay. Back to what I was talking about. I'm working on a brand differentiation guide for Allegiate. So what makes us different? And what are the terms that you can say that nobody else can say? So for example, a bad example might be expert coaching. Though it's true, every other gym is gonna claim expert coaching because you can define expert as whatever certification you got or blah, blah, blah. But my business partner, Tim Karen, with 2 decades at the highest levels of collegiate strength and conditioning, running the helm of a boutique fitness concept, designing programs for general population, that is completely differentiated. There is not that out there in the market. So what are the other things in our brand and our product that I know are differentiated, but we haven't figured out the right way to say that in a way that's truly differentiated? So someone out there might say like, oh, our customer service is unparalleled and better than everybody else's. Though that might be true, it's not actually different. Like every software company is probably gonna say those same things. So for example, I was talking with Tim, there's a level of preparation on the coach's side that they have to do prior to even being able to coach a program. There's a ton of studying, of speaking in front of a board, of learning the tempos, of how to load it, of how to pair the squat racks. And whatever that is, if we can distill it down to a couple sentences, that is differentiation, right? And like, what are the other pieces around that? And then if you put in that work, you now have a bunch of different things that explain why you're differentiated. And then if you've been watching these things, you know I love leveraging ChatGPT here. I do most of the hard thinking and work. I get it kind of all out there on paper. It's disorganized. In the past, I would get lost in trying to categorize it or frame it or reorganize it, right? It'd be like productive procrastination. With ChatGPT, I feed that raw data in there. I tell them what I'm looking for. I give it the prompt. I say this is what I'm trying to do. I say in the context of the competition. I say it's differentiated, but how do I actually communicate this in such a way that when the reader reads it, they know it's differentiated. And then it's differentiated internally, but then also compared to other fitness options. So D1 is another, allegedly their roots were in collegiate strength and conditioning, and they have a similar, the squat racks, but they've got like a scholastic athlete focus, but they technically could kind of have a similar thing. So how is Allegiate different than that? Well, Allegiate is only adult group focused, right? And we've got 2 tiers of programming, a more advanced program and a less advanced program. D1 doesn't have that, but they've got a scholastic athlete focus. But if I just say athletic strength and conditioning, the only one in the market, well, D1's doing that as well, right? And some CrossFits are probably gonna say that as well too, right? So I think you're generally getting the point. But being able to now make these guidebooks, I've got a brand guidebook, I've got an email newsletter guidebook, I've got a social media content guidebook, I've got the differentiation guidebook, and you stack up all these different assets, and now you've got guidebooks, one that can help you scale with other people coming in on your team, but 2, it just helps you conceptualize and get a lot clearer on like who you are, what you do, who you serve, what you stand for. And then that clarity I can leverage now in sales and advertising. Today I posted on all my short form stuff a video of me talking about making some payroll cuts because I'm trying to optimize for profit on the front of house side, and basically kind of how I came to that decision. I think the script was really good. The acting was a little bit monotone for me, but it was passable, so I shipped it anyways. But I was kind of like nervous to press publish on that one, you know, because it's like I'm talking about letting some folks go, some of which are going to see that content. Like I don't want them to feel bad. At the same time, like I'm talking about profit, and I'm admitting out there like, hey, we weren't hitting the profit numbers that I wanted to see. So it's like, oh wow, Allegion's not profiting as much as it might be or might presume to be, right? You know what I mean? So it's like, the good news is like now that we've made the change, like it is actually a massive difference. And also when I was going through it, much like I do these videos right now, I was talking and I put it on TikTok of like the script where I was like thinking about letting folks go, thinking about bringing on a VA, and I just got torn apart on TikTok about, you know, random people just chiming in saying like your members are gonna hate it, like it's a really bad idea. Classic business owner learns the benefits of cost cutting, employee reduction. But now that I'm on the other end, like the system's working. Not only is it saving us money on payroll, but actually more things are getting done with better quality because we have somebody that's way more consistent and frankly was doing a better job than our front desk staff was. But it's just funny, like all those things are like going through my head before I hit publish, but when I was making the video, but I was thinking to myself, you know what? If I'm thinking and feeling those things, it's probably all the more reason to hit publish on it because that vulnerability and honesty is gonna translate to whoever is seeing that. And if it's some, you know, business owner that the algorithm puts it in front of, or somebody thinking about being a business owner and like understanding that I'm like really going through these things and talking about it and like putting myself out there a bit to kind of admit like, yeah, it wasn't all rosy. It wasn't exactly what I thought it was gonna be, but here's the lesson here. And if you're looking for opportunities, you can find them. Like I decided, cause I was kind of feeling that hesitation. I was like, you know what? I need to hit publish on this one cause that's probably a good sign that it's like real. See, brother? One idea I've had for a pretty long time is a long form content segment, kind of like Between Two Ferns, but like Between the Racks. Could be like Racked Up, could be Meatheads. I think those are the main working titles that I have. But where I interview a member who's doing something really interesting in their career, in their life, in their work. And we have this sort of connection to fitness, to strength training, to the athlete's mindset. I actually had a call with Christian Ponder, the old Vikings quarterback. Once he retired from the league, he was out in the corporate world doing finance, hated it, started his own business called The Post, which is basically a Soho club, kind of meets WeWork, but for athletes, and they do college athletes and above. And they've got this thing like the athlete operating system, which gets into this athlete's mindset and sort of, you know, competition and your teammates and hard work and like all that kind of stuff that a lot of athletes resonate with and know. And so that would be like the big picture theme that's sort of interwoven, but it's through this content segment, but it's really highly community focused. It's like our members, and I just would get to ask some really in-depth, interesting questions. I think from a content standpoint, a branding standpoint, it's like, hey, wow, there's really interesting people that train at Allegiate from like one side. So it'd be like a cool authority building figure on the community from that point, very aspirational-esque. But it also speaks to this undercurrent of like, this is more than just fitness. This is more than just looking good in the mirror or taking pictures on Instagram. Like there's a whole like deeper intellectual, spiritual connection to this kind of thing. And I feel like that would be a really good format to bring out these ideas. Now, I haven't done it yet because to do a good job and with all the competition of podcasts and content that's out there, like, and it's a tsunami of stuff every single day, it's a lot of work to do that. And I don't want to just like start a podcast. Oh, yeah, cool. They're starting a podcast. Everybody starts a podcast and then fizzles out and dies, right? But this longer form idea is just something that I've had in my head. So anyways, while I was just training right now, I've got a video editor that helps us out on the freelancing side. And the end vision, if this was cool, would be like a big in-person event that we film it, we get members to come, and it's like really a community building networking kind of thing. We could do drinks, we could do food and that kind of thing. But like, what's the minimum viable product that I could kind of do? It'd be like me, some lights that I've got, set it up in the gym, set enough of a mood and a vibe, do 2 iPhones, like a wide shot and then a tight up on the guest. I've got these lavalier microphones that I could just hook up to us, and then we could just see if this ends up being something that potentially hits, and then use that as like, if it does, have my video editor friend edit it all so I don't have to spend the time doing it, and then we could put it out there and see if it generates some sort of buzz and people are like, oh my God, this is so cool. And then in my back of my head, I'd be like, all right, cool. We kind of like tested it and got something out there first, right? Before like putting all the resources in potentially it flopping or it being like way more work.